everyone, and welcome back. This week, we don't have a name, okay? I don't even have one to give you guys this week. We're the unnamed podcast. But what we will be doing slightly later in the show is reading your guys' suggestions and hopefully settling on one.
Sure. We're really keeping the standards high.
Does anyone have any initial suggestions?
I think the people that's what I call a giggle. And I think
I was racking my brain trying to remember what you said. I was the only thing I could come up with, and that's what I call funny. I was trying to remember what you said.
Can we please call the podcast, and that's what I call funny? I think that's an excellent name.
Somehow even worse than the giggle one. But as you'll all notice, Rosanna is back this week. She's climbed out of the well. There we go. To discuss.
Oh, that was so funny.
We'll start with Rosanna because she wasn't here last week. Rosanna, take it away. What did you think of this week's episode, The Well?
Don't ask me about last week's episode.
Well, we could. Do you want? You could get a brief recap. Go
on. Last week's episode slayed, and I was like, oh, I can't get better than that. I can't get better than that. Then this week's episode happened, and I was like, I couldn't sleep very well. That's how scared I was. Because I sleep in the middle of my room, so I can't face that way because the scary monster could be this way, and I can't face this way because the scary monster could be that way.
You are aware it's not real, right?
I'm also 21. I loved it. I just truly felt scared. I felt like because I feel like Doctor Who nowadays gets like a big it's wookie cookie. But
wookie cookie. Sorry.
A purpose. All the acting was incredible. I was in tears. And there was no unmemorable characters, because I feel like recently Doctor Who, you don't have iconicness like the council man or hi Martha, hi. So, you just need, and I feel like you had some horrible characters, so you just wanted to hate. I don't know. I love the mystery, and I love that Belinda solved it.
I do think the one thing with Belinda is I hope we don't get every single week. It feels like it's been the same thing with I'm a nurse. Do you know what I mean? I feel like it's going to become a meme. We get you're a nurse.
I've seen a potential theory about that.
Ooh, go on. Do you want to give your theory straight away? Roll with it.
Can do. I don't know if this is something that you guys have seen, and you've probably made about 10 videos each on it, actually, but the whole thing of it being in a loop. Have you seen that? The Doctor's living in a loop?
Yes, I saw that.
Oh, yeah.
And because now, ever since I've heard that theory, everything that I see in it, I'm like, oh my God, he's in a loop. Oh my God, he's in a loop. He's in a loop. So with the whole companions mirroring each other and stuff, and particularly with that weird shot with them getting dressed.
Oh no, I love that.
Yeah, but it's the exact same thing as the last before.
And Mrs. Flood is literally just doing a Susan Triad now. She's just I'm
an old
woman dressing up. It feels like the exact same plot line. Maybe there's something to it, or maybe it's Sherlock 5 again.
Yeah, could be. I did see some people saying I wonder how many people think Mrs. Flood and Susan Triad are just the same thing. If you're not switched on, because they do sort of it's an old woman who appears at a random point in the episode. They are very similar, but again, it could be intentional. It could just be a sign that we can only do one series arc. But
I thought Russell said in one of those interviews from a while back about when he wrote The Church on Ruby Road, he hadn't fully solidified Mrs. Flood. He hadn't. I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong on this, I'll need to research afterwards, but I'm pretty sure he said when he initially hired Anita Dobson, it was this is the fun, nosy next door neighbour, and that was kind of it. But then, once she was so good and enthusiastic, he was like, "Oh, okay, we'll write her to be this overarching mystery." And you've got to remember, at the time he was writing this, he was also writing Susan Triad. So I reckon he had this vision of a woman appearing in every episode, and then he just sort of split it into two people for some reason.
Surely not. I'm choosing to believe it's intentional for his well-being.
Did he not do that with Rose?
The amount of times the mystery of a Doctor Who series has been, who is this woman that keeps showing up? You've got Missy, you've got the eye patch woman, you've got Rose on all the screens in series 4. This show is only capable of going, who's the mystery woman?
You've got Clara as well.
And everyone always thinks it's the Rani. And maybe this time it finally will be. Who knows?
I don't get why though. I think the actress for the Rani was really good, but I think the Rani as a character was really boring.
Well, I watched the Rani episodes the other day from Colin Baker's era. What's the first thing that the Rani ever does on screen?
You tell us. You just watched them.
You're all fake fans.
I can't.
You can't watch episodes this week and then go, no one else has seen them ever.
It's Mark of the Rani. It's hardly memorable.
Imitates Mel, right?
No, that's the Seventh Doctor.
That's Time of the Rani.
The first thing she ever does is dress up as an old, nice, friendly Yorkshire woman who just potters about the town, and she's like, oh, hello, everybody. And she's like having a nice little chat with some miners, as in like people going down a mine. And yeah, I'm just saying, there's the correlation there of you've got Mrs. Flood dressing up as an old woman, the Rani.
I wonder if Mrs. Flood is the Clyde.
The what?
That was absolutely.
I didn't even
Sarah
get it.
Jane Adventures.
It's right there. They're right there.
Yeah, I know, but the Clyde. Oh, right, okay.
The Rani. To be fair, Belinda, Chandra, Rani, Chandra.
One thing I will say is the ending cameo of Mrs. Flood. Previously, I was like, is the Rani connection just fans saying stuff? But when she was like, oh, a working Vindicator, how marvellous is that? Oh, I haven't seen one of them for years. I was like, okay, that's a bit Rani either.
I didn't like the cameo. I thought she kind of didn't really need to be there. And
I disagree.
Also feel the whole mystery of, if it's latched on to the other commander or soldier woman, I like that a lot more than Mrs. Flood.
It did feel like...
Yeah, I missed it a bit at the end, yeah.
This was the first time it was just forced in, which is why it felt like Susan Triad. It was kind of
This is also the first time in this podcast we've actually talked about a moment in the well.
Yeah.
That's a good point. We'll come back to Mrs. Flood later. And Artie, go on, give us your thoughts on the well.
I went into it because I knew before we started that the Midnight Entity was coming back. So I went in and I was like, I'm either going to love it or I'm going to hate it. And then after I watched it, I just didn't feel either of those things. I just thought it was pretty good. Which in itself is impressive because it didn't offend me. They revisited something which Russell admitted by definition they should never revisit. And they added stuff to it in a fun but not really relevant way. It didn't ruin anything. It didn't add much. But the episode was outside of the Midnight Entity. The episode was so good. This series, it's just a step above series 1. Shooty's on the game, Belinda's on the game, and the supporting cast are all engaging. In all 3 episodes, the supporting in the last 2 episodes, the supporting cast have been really good.
Justice for Sasha 55.
So I on the whole, I really liked it.
I do think I'm in a similar boat to you, Artie, in that I think online people have seemed to absolutely love it more than anything. Not massively, but I did prefer Lux and probably the Robot Revolution.
I wouldn't go that far.
That is
I wouldn't go that far.
Robot Revolution, even with those opening 4 minutes.
It's because it was spoiled for you. That's why.
No, because I still think it's we'll discuss it later because we already had a debate before this podcast began, which we cut short to discuss the next time trailer. It's just the style of Doctor Who I like. And I can appreciate when something is... Because it's like Wild Blue Yonder when we reviewed that all those years ago. I can appreciate when something is well written, but it doesn't mean
you just have bad takes. Some of your takes are just bad. That's
have it been known that the confused Adipose prefers the Robot Revolution over the Wild? Because if that's not
I
didn't
see.
like that any
I
kind of-
For me,
genuinely-
this episode was like, it wasn't near Lux, but it was like on par with Boom. I thought it was like, I thought it was
I'd agree with that.
top tier
So
shooting.
I think this is like, I thought, because I mean, I cried at all Doctor Who, but like this one, I was literally like that. What is going on? I
There's something
literally
behind
Someone
you.
behind you, yeah.
it's just my brother going, yeah. I literally like the captain. I loved that. Like, I very much gave Adelaide Brooks, and the one in the Satan pit, like that.
Yeah.
Did you not think though she was a little bit too trusting of the Doctor? Like the Doctor just shows up, here's my psychic paper, and she's just like, okay, mate. Like you were saying, you didn't like.
Because the Doctor was too trusting of her.
I think I've said to most of the people in here already, but I think that last week's episode was better. Like, it was smoother. It was definitely tighter. It was, I think, objectively, probably, if you look at all of the elements to it, a better episode. But watching this week's just made me feel like I was a kid again.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm loving it. I was scared. I was sat watching it in broad daylight in the back of a car on my iPhone with a suitcase like jammed into my neck. And I was there going, ah! My sister was going, scream while I'm driving. And I was like, I don't care. I'm actually terrified on the A14. Like, what's going on? This is not the environment for me to be scared watching Doctor Who in, and I loved it. And I really wasn't very... Oh, sorry.
That's brilliant that your younger sister was driving and you were sat watching Doctor Who on your phone.
Yeah, that's the dynamic of my family. But yeah, I
priorities,
really,
I think,
Who knew that it was a midnight sequel?
Right, the three lads, because me and Elise didn't know. We didn't want to know.
I found out the night before.
Oh no!
By accident. I was just looking at, they posted a promo thing on Instagram, and I always look at the comments of everything, so leave nice comments, please, guys. But I love looking through what other people think about things. So I looked through the comments, and it was just, why are you bringing back the Midnight Entity? Why are you doing a sequel of Midnight? Oh my God, I can't wait for you to do a sequel of Midnight. And I was like, oh, so that's a theory. And I really, 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 really wish more than anything that I could have seen that without it. But alas, I still enjoyed it.
I watched it on Sunday. No, I watched it Saturday night, like really late because I finished work. And, like, I feel like Joe, Artie, and Tharies, maybe Tharies and Joe more than Artie, but every like little Discord call we've had, they've been like, I know what's gonna happen, don't be mean, I'll spoil it.
I have never said don't be mean or I'll spoil it.
Joe has.
I would never.
Shut up, I'll spoil it.
I could spoil the whole series for you right now.
See, this is what I mean. This is not okay, guys.
I probably couldn't. I reckon a lot of the leaks going around are fake.
It was one that I did actually care that I was being spoiled about as well. Like, when I was reading the comments, I was like, oh, they brought back the Midnight Entity. And then I was watching it and I was like, oh my God, I wish I hadn't known. Like, I haven't had that in so long, where I've really been invested in the process, like leading up to it, and actually felt like really properly wanted to have not been spoiled for it.
You wouldn't know from watching the episode. I thought it was going to be Waters on Mars.
It gave that kind of similar vibe at some points.
Because Midnight doesn't give Katy Perry going to, the yeah, and that's what they looked like.
I think that's a very unique reading of the episode.
You watch Waters and Mars and you can't help but hear fireworks.
But this episode, when they came out in the outfit, it was giving, the Daisy, and she's like...
I don't understand these references.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Let me get a picture.
Have you actually completely missed this whole thing about
seen
Katy Perry?
I saw memes.
Yeah, but I have no idea what she's talking about, a
attention.
Daisy.
Well, you should...
Guys, I'm not keep up with the news.
While Rosanna finds out, I will just say I did find it hilarious that, because obviously we kind of knew going in that it was a Midnight sequel. I found it hilarious that they started playing Toxic and were dancing around. I was like, how is this going to be a sequel to Midnight? I see.
Have you seen the clip of her saying, I want to go to space because it's a great way to learn about STEM?
I just love
No.
Her.
So good.
I think Toxic was a fun choice because I love British.
I
It
thought
set the tone for it being a throwback sequel, didn't it? It was like, okay, this is what
Yeah.
this is what
we
we're
Also-
doing.
did that bloody costuming thing again, which really upset me because first of all, how did they know what outfits everyone else was going to
That was
I
weird.
agree. That was
Why-
weird.
If you're just going to go and if they're like, oh, what's outside? I don't know, it's the future. Like, I personally wouldn't go and get navy matching jumpsuits to go outside in, which I don't know, it's just a bit weird. Like,
Yeah.
and I didn't like that they did that thing again. I'm willing to forgive them.
The
in the hope
only
that
only excuse I think they have, which I've had to headcanon myself so I don't get angry, is that if you look where the TARDIS materialised, it materialised over where the suits would be. So I reckon it materialised over the suits. So that, do you know what I mean? Because then when they walk out,
That's too much. There's too much leaps.
And they
Also,
wouldn't-
one thing that
I think-
confused
when
me.
they walk out, they pick up the helmets. The TARDIS didn't materialise over the
Sorry,
helmets; it just went over the
Gio,
suits.
I think there might be some straws off screen that I need to clutch at. Because
I don't know about you guys, but I love the orange suits. I would much.
that would have been cool. That
I
would have
found
been
it weird.
cool.
Didn't the I don't know her name, but didn't the deaf girl when she left the planet at the end, she was wearing like a repainted version of one of the orange suits.
I think
Yeah.
that was
It did
probably
look similar.
budgetary reasons.
No, but it's like if you have
It
that
was
suit,
literally the
why
same
not stick
costume.
the deaf girl in the?
Her name is Rose, the actress, and she's brilliant.
Is that true? Oh wait, I thought the character name was Rose then, and I was going to be like
Strictly!
Russell, a new name, please.
She won
No.
Strictly, the actress.
I remember I was
Hasn't
stood in the airport when she was supposedly announced as the 15th Doctor's first companion. And I remember it so clearly looking up who this actress was. And I was like, oh, this would be cool. It was completely a lie and 3 years ago now. But that was my first introduction to her. Because I don't think I ever did a video on it, but I had it in my notes app ready to make a video. Like, is this the 15th Doctor's companion? She won Strictly. What else was she in, Rosanna? She was in...
EastEnders, wasn't it?
Genders, yeah.
Yeah, it was one of them.
She's
One of
really-
the soaps.
One of those.
Oh, but I truly think like her performance in this episode, like I cried anything once again, but like I cried to when
She was great.
I think also her character, like I love that it was like what's that episode with Capaldi and they're based under siege and it's like the
Under the
Waves.
Before
Waves.
the floods.
Yeah.
unbelievable
They had a deaf
stuff.
character in that, and I think Doctor Who uses it really well.
That was one of the coolest scenes in Doctor, like just that with the thing being dragged along and then you could hear the vibrations. That was so cool.
So
Sorry,
it, like, the deaths were brutal.
Yeah. Well, see, this is another point of controversy, right? Would it have been more effective to just have the people die? Like, I almost think, like, it's cool and a nice use of budget to have them lobbed across the room, but I think it might have worked better if they just like crumpled and died. Like the second
the
she got
issue
behind them,
is-
there's
My controversial take on that is that I thought the deaths looked a little bit goofy.
I
after
did
a
I
not.
while.
think I think the issue is that there's no gore, which
Yeah.
there's Doctor Who, so there shouldn't be gore. But the good thing about like if someone drops is like it's all implied. But when someone's thrown across a room, they've died because they've been violently thrown somewhere. So because they just sort of softly land because the wire works and there's no blood or anything because
you
it's
heard the
Doctor Who,
bone.
it's a bit wet. I thought
You heard
that's.
the bone, you heard the, and then
Yeah, you. The sound effect was there, but nothing happened to them. They were just having a lie down.
You
To be
got them
fair-
on BBC.
to be
You
fair,
don't want like
yeah.
We need like
I think
classic Who, where like the fourth Doctor just snaps that guy's neck for no
Yeah.
reason.
I was saying to Alistair that they need to do like Chrissy Wake Up from Stranger Things and have all the like.
Oh no!
That would have been.
I think I'm sort of in the same position as our team with the episode overall, though. I think I'm in a very similar kind of boat of like, I was nervous going in as it was a midnight sequel because I think that's one of the easiest things to mess up. Like
You knew
that could yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It could have been awful. I mean, we had Empire of Death last year, and I feel like this gets a lot of play on this podcast. But that's because, as I've said before, Pyramids of Mars, one of my favourite classic stories ever, one of my favourite Tom Baker stories, one of my favourite classic villains. we get a sequel, and it's that. And so going into Midnight, I was not on Midnight, going into The Well, which is a sequel to Midnight, I was like, oh God,
Thanks.
what if it's them watching Midnight on an iPad? Then, they have to explain and stuff like that.
I think they should have watched Midnight on the iPad.
The flashback isn't much better. Look, I like the flashback.
I like the same expression.
I'm not here for the flashbacks, like this episode or the previous one.
I also thought Shooty's acting and Belinda's acting, they're kind of standing off, and it's like 4 of them. I really like that scene. She's brilliant. Give that girl, she is.
No, I agree. I think Rose Alice, which is the actor, like she's like the standout for me this week. I think she's incredible. Like she was so good. Like the bit where they're all, obviously because she's deaf and stuff, they turn away to talk to each other, and she's like, "Don't turn your back on me." And it's got double meaning, as obviously there's something on her back as well. It's like, oh, that was good, and that hit really well.
I love the text thing, like the
that was good. I thought the world building in general, for given the vibe of this time period and who these people are and the kind of tech they have, it was so good. It was just like classic sci-fi. It was like a really strong episode.
I noticed, I rewatched Midnight, and I'm pretty sure there's a line where they say, it's the Doctor or someone says like it whispers in your ear and blah 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 blah.
Well, no, I really liked that.
Like,
I really liked
it literally whispers now. Which
I really liked that. The reason that she wasn't possessed by it,
that was
like
great.
The others, is because she can't hear the whispers. That's a really good. I just would have liked to see them play on that in a horror way a little bit more. That's one of my own.
I thought that was a great setup, but then when the entity went into the characters that could hear, I didn't think there was much of a noticeable difference of like, they still die when they're facing the other way, but like it didn't feel like they were any more possessed.
But that's because
Belinda
Belinda,
the villain is the way it makes you act, not the thing itself. Like in Midnight, the woman repeating is creepy, but what gives you, or at least what I take away from it that scares me, is the way those people are so easily turned on each other. Like that old woman, whatever her name is, the one who's married to the bloke.
Is it Val?
When she's like, kill him!
Yeah, exactly. She's the primary force. She's the antagonist of that episode. Like going like, oh, you're not masculine, you're my husband, throw him up, do this.
You're from another planet, like an immigrant.
Exactly. She's literally like a Brexit voter. She's like a little Brexit voter on a ship.
Can we give a little
you said you're not human. That's what you said. You said go.
Can we just give a little hype to Jeffro?
Shout out to Colin Morgan.
That was another thing I was going to say, because on the point of they turn themselves against each other, really liked the scene where obviously I'm going to call him the dickhead commander, Cassio, I think is his name. The one in every One Base Under Siege story where there has to be one who's just.
I was on his side.
I thought he was really good. I love that actor. He's been in a few stuff.
The thing I loved is when the main general is like, turn 12 o'clock. And then so it passes on to him, so he dies. So he doesn't take control. I was like, oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
That's a really good.
I wasn't keen on that. In the way that, just like Joe was saying, how in Midnight, the real villain is the people. And really, if the Doctor had killed Skye, like off the bat, it wouldn't have been that much of a hassle for the Doctor. And the thing that makes it difficult is that he's doing the right thing. Well, if the Doctor had killed Skye in Midnight,
the Doctor didn't kill that bloke.
No, but the reason the people become so villainous is because he's trying to be righteous, and he's like, you're not going to be violent towards this woman because we don't know what's going on. Whereas the one thing that I thought was missing from this is when she killed him, it felt kind of weightless. It didn't feel like Shooty cared much. It was like, oh no.
Responded. I see what you mean. I feel like,
I also think one of the things with that 100% Shooty, I was expecting, like, I could just see David Tennant in my head. I don't know why, because his Doctor would probably be the most do it, but going like, you don't need to kill him. I thought one of the worst points of this episode, it doesn't affect it majorly, but in Midnight, by the end, you kind of get the sense that it's evil. but there's no confirmation that it's evil. It's just trying to assimilate life. Do you know what I mean? Like, whereas now they establish 100% it's playing with you, which I think is vastly different to... Obviously, I suppose by the end of Midnight, she is sort of fully evil. Like, if you look at her face.
She is definitely playing.
I like not... Because the Doctor just says that, oh, last time I saw it, it was playing with us, it was doing that. Yeah. I like it not... Do you know what I mean? It's like so in Flatline, when you don't... like, the 12th Doctor literally says in that speech, he's like, I don't know whether you're here to invade or infiltrate us, but bugger off. It's like, that's a good...
Yeah.
I think that one of the reasons that it kind of felt like that a bit was there was no sort of learning aspect to it, which is, I think, one of the most interesting things of Midnight, is the fact that you don't know what it's doing, you don't know what it's there for, but it's really clearly, like, slowly, like tiny, incrementally trying to figure out what's going on. It does that through the language. I think it'd be really cool if we could have seen a different aspect of that.
Yeah, that's what I was saying with the death aspects as well.
You've got to realise as well is that at the start of the scene, they've already been there for like, what, 15 days? You know, I like a story where you don't know what's happening, but there's like dead bodies everywhere. You know, it's like, you know.
I mean, that was good. That was like fairly dark for like this current iteration of Doctor Who's been like, oh yeah, you know, everyone's bones have snapped. This one's been lasered, you know, to death, and all this sort of stuff. I think that's another thing. This is more of a series overall sort of feeling, but it's exemplified in this episode. The tonal balance of this series compared to last year is like a night and day difference. It feels like they finally have understood what their target age demographic is, which is like us and like a bit younger, like the teenage kind of.
I don't think it's them. I think it's just old people who like Doctor Who.
I think partly that, but I think...
No, but the thing is, I think what you're trying to get at, it doesn't talk down to kids.
No.
Season 1 felt very like this would like, if you watch this young, you wouldn't be... You'd be scared, but you wouldn't be too scared to the point where you have to turn it off. And if you did reach that point, you'd still want to watch it.
Yeah.
Like, I think kids should be scared by Doctor Who.
I was thinking about this. If I watched this series as a kid, I'd have found it hype as anything. What, you're telling me we're going to see the Midnight Entity again, and there's a cartoon man coming out of a TV, and he's going to be a god?
I love the idea that that's how you spoke as a kid. Oh, what? We're going to see the Midnight Entity again, mummy?
Yay, cartoon man!
Yeah. Do you know what I mean, though? Like, that's pure childhood, like, hype. That's the type of thing where, like, you know, you got hyped when, you know, Davros appeared in, like, Series 4 and all this sort of stuff like that. And I think what's good about the use of this entity specifically is, unlike Sutek last year, it actually appeals to the nostalgia of us and when us a little bit older, rather than the nostalgia of what Rosanna was saying, 40 plus. Don't get me wrong, I love Sutek. That's not a criticism. I love Sutek, but when you think about it more broadly, if you're going to do a nostalgia play, it makes more sense now to do a nostalgia play for the 2000s rather than the 70s. Does that make sense?
It was 20 years ago, and Russell did his nachos.
Nachos?
I don't get what that was.
Have you not?
All I heard was nachos, and I can see you eating nachos.
Yeah, I was like...
You reheat your... Sorry, I thought that was going to be really cool.
Right. I'm sorry, I see what you're saying.
I didn't hear reheat. I just heard nachos. I was like, this isn't sponsored.
Sponsor me, please.
No, we can't. Product placement. No.
Other brands of crisps are available. I will bring us on to one negative, though. One thing that I just don't understand. The surface of Midnight is quite possibly, if it is a diamond planet, quite possibly the most reflective thing ever. Yeah. What do you mean reflections defeat it?
Oh, yeah. That was so bizarre.
Of course.
My personal... I did a similar thing to you, mate. You know how you had to headcanon why the spacesuits were there? I did a similar thing because I did a video on Midnight Entity, and I was like, well, maybe the reason
I thought we weren't sponsored, Tharies.
Yeah, well, I said the reason...
Other videos are available.
Other videos are available. The reason for that is because maybe it spent so long in the dark that because Ncuti says, I think it's Unleashed or one of the behind the scenes.
That's a very kind reading. That is straight up. That's Joe with the spacesuits.
Let me finish the point there. Like, because he's evolved and stuff, maybe he's evolved in the darkness and therefore has like some kind of aversion to some sort of light and reflection. That's kind of where I was. I get that. That is a headcanon. I'm not saying that's the canon reading.
I saw someone comment on TikTok and I thought, oh, that's a really nice theory, because we do see it in the we see the little black head in the what's it called? The Confidential.
Yeah.
So we saw the actual creature, and I like the thought that it's Sky's body, but like all fur.
Oh, and it's still using
I saw
like
a little comment that was like, "Oh, it's Sky's decomposing body," and I was like, "That is so."
I'm not a scientist, but I don't know if a human body could decompose over
40,000
years.
Also, Tennant does say that as soon as they hit the atmosphere, I'm sorry, they've been reduced to dust.
Well, you don't know that the creature could have like put some protective shield.
I would make the point this is the same show where a man travels around in a blue box throughout time and space. So I do sort of think the laws of science.
I like that theory.
I like the theory.
It is cool. It is cool. It feels very Stranger Things when they were saying that the Demigorgon was like a number that was left in the Upside Down.
Isn't that what happened in the end?
I can't remember. I didn't stop paying attention to that show.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Let us know.
Anyway, I like the theory that it doesn't have a form at all, and that's its whole deal. Like, and it's why the motivation when it's playing with people kind of like throws it off a little bit. But I like the idea that because you can say like the not things from Wild Blue Yonder, the thing from Listen, like the boneless from Flatline, all of these things. Who's to say it's not this same entity, and all it wants is to have a form. Because it's got consciousness, but without a form. So it adapts, it mimics, it
maybe it's a Gelf. Oh my god, maybe it's a Gelf.
Wow.
Maybe. I noticed that with the not things though. Their whole thing was we want to escape to the universe and play about with it. And that is literally the exact same motivation of the Midnight Entity.
Wild Blue Yonder is more of a sequel to Midnight. Just make that bright corridor dark and dingy. That is more of a Midnight sequel than this, because this creature...
I still prefer Wild Blue Yonder over this.
But this creature doesn't have the same motivations as Midnight at all, whereas Wild Blue Yonder, it's literally mimicking, it's trying to adapt and learn. It's like, which one's the...
I do slightly prefer Wild Blue Yonder to this, because I think...
I much prefer it.
I think part of it as well, though, is no matter what you did with this script, and I think this story is very, very good, but I think that no matter what you do with it, it's always going to be unfavorably compared to the original Midnight in that sense, because the original Midnight is so astronomically excellent that it's almost like, it's kind of like, you know what people say about the Weeping Angels, where after Blink they progressively got less and less interesting. And I sort of feel a bit similar with this to an extent. Not that I don't think that they did it well. I think actually, for a Midnight sequel, they did it about as well as you possibly could do.
Because obviously Russell said this, it's not just a Doctor Who Blink to Time of the Angels. It's an alien trope that's a Hollywood thing. You've got one little, you've got Michael Myers, and then all of a sudden now you've got I don't know, something weird Halloween-y, and it's the same with I'm trying to make more. It's a horror movie Hollywood trope. You have one thing and then you double it in the next one.
You have the Demogorgon, then the Demodogs.
Yeah, you make it bigger with sort of guns and soldiers, and I like that Hollywood thing, and I like the way they've done it. And I don't think people view it as a bad thing, but sometimes it can just be different.
Oh yeah, I don't think it's bad. I think it's, as I said, I think it's well executed. I just think part of it is that Midnight is so good that it's almost hard to not compare the two.
But I think in a way that's why it was good that this was very different. Because you almost don't compare the two, because it's it feels like its own thing.
Also, as someone who didn't know it was Midnight, I literally had the best time ever because I was like,
Oh God.
you know what I mean? Like the hype
so
that I built,
sorry.
I literally had no idea. And I thought, like, how clever of it to be a dead planet because of mining, because of years. And like, I thought the reveal was really fun. And I thought Shooty's acting 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I think he
Shooty
really
was great.
embodies the same fear that Tennant had. Like, I don't know how he does it, but the facial
that scene
expression
where he hears it say his name, I actually got chills.
the facial expression is like weirdly identical. It's weird. Like the expression is, it feels the same. It feels like the same man. And I think you really felt, one thing I love about like the Doctors, and it's why Matt Smith is one of my personal favorites, is they always say he's like, he's an old man in a young body. And I've really felt that with Shooty's reaction to the Midnight Entity. You felt the years that had passed since he last saw it. You felt the trauma re-emerging from when he saw it. And I just thought, I think Shooty, both Lux and this one, he's been on fire. I mean, he was good in Royal Revolution too, but like I think it's almost more of a standard story. But these last two, I feel, have really let him shine.
I will still say, because as good as he is, I am enjoying him a lot more. This week, I don't know what it is, but week 1 and week 2, it felt new, fresh, and I felt like he was giving different things each week. I feel like I don't want to be too critical because he is giving a good performance, but every week I feel like Shooty reads the script and he decides this is the point where I'll do that face and cry. And you don't want that face and crying every week. And I think it's one of the things that made me like his Doctor a lot more in Lux. He did cry, but you barely see it because he's stood away and you don't get the close-up. But I feel like he does the same. Do you know what I mean? It's like, we've reached that point in the script again where he's going to cry. And it's like...
I thought it suited this week, so I didn't mind.
I also think another part that I really like about this episode, particularly at the start, was how playful he was. I know he's playful, but like, I use the word hun all the time, so I felt seen in that moment.
That was good as well. Yeah, that whole exchange was really funny.
He mentioned
I thought that was weird. I thought that was weird.
I really liked it.
Did you not think it was strange him saying, I can't remember what he calls him first.
Babes.
What? Yeah, and the guy basically says, "Please don't call me babes because I don't know you." Is what he said, and then he goes, "All right, honey." It's a bit aggressive.
It doesn't come across like that though. It comes across. I felt it much more like this is the Doctor. He's been told he needs to act professional, but it's the Doctor.
Yes.
He's not going to act professional.
Artie, you're being the one friend that's too woke. It wasn't about personal boundaries. It was about we're in a work environment, and the Doctor's whole thing is I don't do work environments. I'm cool.
Yeah, but you can do work environments without like I don't know.
Also, it's no.
It just felt aggressive.
Hun is okay. Hun is our beat. We like Hun.
No, he said honey though, and also he was saying it specifically to wind it up.
He says hun.
But also that's the exact type of thing. To play it another way, that's the exact type of thing Tom Baker would have done, but a new era version.
Tom Baker.
Well, if it was acceptable in the 70s, it's acceptable now.
What I mean is him just kind of immediately renouncing any idea of professionalism. You know, it reminds me of, I can't remember which episode it is, someone's going to point it out, but it's when they're like, put your hands up and turn around, and he just does a full 360 degrees, you know? And it's that level of sort of snarkiness that I really like.
It reminds me of, I love when he says, I think it's City of Death, where he goes, you're a beautiful woman, probably.
And it's sort of like, it's different, but you get that same, it's a different version of it. It's a very like 2020s shooty version of it, but it's the same basic concept of him just completely disregarding any form of authority or professionalism. I like it even more in the bit where it's a really subtle moment, but the bit where Cassio is like, does this man have authority over me? And she's like, right now he does, yeah. And he just gives a massive beaming grin to him and just carries on. I was like, that's just the Doctor, isn't it? That's exactly
I think as well, what it shows, he's got a bit of an ego, which is good, because I think that the Doctor should always have. In season 1, he almost like, I don't know, do you know what it didn't feel, whereas now he feels, because you're not supposed, there's never a really good TV character that you fully like, because everyone in real life, there's always a little thing about them that will make you go, ugh. And
Thanks, Joe. We really appreciate that.
It's a real insight into Joe's mind.
All of you have a lot of
You never fully like anyone, do you? Everyone in your life lets you down in one way.
But real people have real flaws, and you love them for their flaws, and that's why the Doctor is a good character when he has a bit of an ego.
I agree.
That's my point.
No, I agree. I thought that was really
the
good.
shot bit, when Belinda gets shot as well, I love the fact that that was incorporated within the plot. Like, it was like, oh, good shot. And she was like, yeah.
Yes.
But also Earth.
Oh yeah. We haven't talked about that.
What's happening?
Oh, that was great. I thought that was great. That, like, from the start of the episode up until the people start getting thrown around, it was stellar start to finish. Like, everything was so tense that, like, starting off all happy, and then as soon as them going, you're stuck on this planet for 5 hours, and then she's just chatting, and all of a sudden Earth is gone. I was like, what? It was great. It was so tense. It felt like at the start of Wild Blue Yonder when Donna and the Doctor are chatting to not Donna and not the Doctor, and it's like, oh, it's so good. I had a great time. Sorry,
what do we reckon? What do we reckon has happened to Earth?
The Trickster!
The Eiffel Tower's fallen off for a start.
And it's right next to the Statue of Liberty as well. They travel.
Yeah.
To be fair, the Statue of Liberty is also technically French as well.
Yeah,
maybe
do you think they've reunited in space?
Maybe they just really
French
targeted French objects.
The true supervillains of Earth, the villains of this series are the French. Finally, the Doctor will rid the Earth of the French.
The views mentioned by the members of this podcast do not reflect the confused Adipose brand.
It's a work of fiction, Joe.
J'adore.
Rule Brits.
Je detest.
I do think, because maybe it's just because I'm 21 years old and I've watched so much Doctor Who, I think my eyes are going to fall out. I don't particularly care what's happened to the Earth. If they give me a good episode about it, I'm like, yeah, that's great. All it is right now is just like, a thing that they're hopefully going to tidy up at the end of the series. I'm not sat there quaking my boots going, oh my God, the Earth's disappeared. What's happened to it? Like, I'm like, oh, wonder what happened to the Earth. But I agree with Artie in the way that they went into the script. I was like, oh, you're making me care about it because Belinda cares about, what's going on. So I really liked that, because at the end of Robot Revolution, when you see the Eiffel Tower, like, I was just a bit like, for God's sake, they've killed the Earth again. They do it all the time. Oh, it's the end of the world.
Imagine if this was the first time we heard the Earth was gone. Imagine they didn't end Robot Revolution with a super cheesy Statue of Liberty and Eiffel Tower. Like, wouldn't this have hit so much harder?
Oh my God, that's so true.
I think it's the Trickster because, as the Temptation of Sarah Jane.
Which one's that?
Which one's that?
I don't know the episode title.
Rosanna's been watching Joe's YouTube videos again.
Of course.
I would never, but I am just a woman.
Base.
Well, that's getting
I would never.
So true.
That's what I'm in them.
But thanks for watching.
But I think it's the Temptation of Sarah Jane that Earth sucked. I need to stop swearing. I'm sorry. But it's just, it's. So I think it's the same vibe. I definitely think they need to end it with the Trickster, because if they don't, what a waste of, like, Pantheon.
Do you want a quick theory?
Go on.
Right, I'll give you the abridged version if you want Trickster stuff, okay? Conrad, coming up this week. We won't delve into it too much, but we've seen in the trailers, this is not leaks and stuff, we have seen that he is, like, properly obsessed with the Doctor. He's intrigued. He seemingly follows the 15th Doctor and Ruby in a flashback from Series 1. He's got his little podcast talking about this. What if, Rosanna, do you know the Black Guardian from Classic Who? Vaguely. Well, he's basically like the Trickster in that he shows up and so Turlo, rubbish companion, but Turlo crashes a car, he's about to die, Black Guardian shows up exactly like the Trickster and goes, look mate, if you hunt down the Doctor I'll give you your life back. I'll give you all this, which is exactly what the Trickster does. And they, the Black Guardian's part of the Pantheon as well. Trickster's part of the Pantheon. What if they're like the Trinity? You've got the Black Guardian, the Trickster, and the White Guardian, and they're all like, oh, something happens to Conrad, and they're like, if you track down the Doctor for us, we'll give you whatever you want, which is why he gets with Ruby to get close to the Doctor, and it's all about this. Then the finale is Wish World. Conrad is granted his wish because he's played into whatever this trinity of gods want, and then I don't know what's going to happen, but for some reason the Earth blows up.
He wishes for France to be wiped.
And honestly, isn't that just?
But I hope it's
so
that
relatable?
little kid in Sarah Jane. I hope he gets to do that. And then he turns into the like grass.
The little harbinger kid from the Devil's
Yeah, and
Cord,
he's like-
that could be the grass.
Yeah, what? That's a good point. I was thinking about this last week with like Lux. Where was the little ginger kid? I was like, is he going to be in the? I was expecting him to be the one that like. Do you know what I mean? Like, made sure that the film went all funny.
No, because they all have their own harbingers.
No, I know, but like the Harbinger in Lux was the film, which is like fine. But that does bother me about Lux. I realise we're going on to Lux, but you know the bit where he's like, oh, the gods have harbingers, and we see the sign fall down outside. But how does the Doctor know the signs fall down outside?
No,
I genuinely think the
just
Harbinger
knows.
thing last week was just like the most unnecessary thing. I mean, it's
I
nothing.
liked
It didn't add or take anything away. It was just like, if the toy maker doesn't need one, why throw it in?
I think they all need one. It's so cool. I love it. And I loved it in Lux. It might actually be my favourite Harbinger usage, because like Harriet Harbinger's cool, but that's a close second. This one, because also the Doctor can't see it, but what's happened is he's heard the giggle or whatever. He's gone, oh no, there's a god. Wait, when there's a god, there's a harbinger. What could have been a harbinger? It's the Doctor. He's thinking back.
Yeah.
He looks like, oh crap, that's where I saw harbinger, because his brain's always sort of processing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would have registered.
Yeah,
Fair
fair
enough.
enough.
I really like
Fair
that.
enough. I was going to make a point on the while, and I forgot what the point I was going to make was.
Well, these
No, it's gone.
podcasts are much trickier when the episodes are good, because there's less to discuss. It's just like,
Well, it's all right. Someone in the comments last week said that we should have a tighter format and keep it down to an
Are
hour.
you just calling out the comments now?
Do you not want us to chat more? Do you want us to chat
I'm
less?
personally glad the viewers watch. Thank you for your
exactly.
time.
We're not haters like the
Oh,
rest.
but you
of
can stop after an hour and then continue in a different time.
I
Like,
think it's just that me and Joe are more used to dealing with YouTube comments, so we're more fearful. You know, we're more fearful.
Excuse me, I've had my plenty of what's this blonde bimbo doing here on Joe's.
That's a good point,
videos
yeah.
doing with Joe.
To be fair, I've got those comments as well.
Rosanna's had the worst.
girls. Wait, I've had the best comments.
You've had the worst one as well from that first one.
Which one? There's too many negative
had
Rosanna
so
comments.
many-
What was the iconic one? I love the people.
There was
who
a bit of racism. There was people that didn't like me in general. There was people that were like, "Never have her again."
There was the one I will always remember, where the first video we did in person, where someone, what did they put? They put, "Never have her back. She's miserable as sin." Off.
Miserable sin. So loved on the YouTube podcast.
We don't actually that perfectly brings us on to what name do we want for this podcast?
Are you ready, guys? Right. Whoever said YouTube 4.
Tell us in the comments which person you'd kick out of the podcast. Don't. It's me.
Given that given that 2/5 of the podcast have just antagonised the audience, they haven't exactly put themselves in the best place. I love you, audience. We wouldn't be here without you.
I read all of your comments, and I like the nice things you say about my dad, and I read them out to him at the table. I hope you all know that.
And I guarantee if they met my dad or heard anything from my dad, they'd go,
No, we need, guys, can you let us know, everyone in the comments, reassure Rosanna that we need her dad as a special guest on this podcast, because we don't have a special guest today, and we need Rosanna's dad, 100%. Is he there? You're looking like he's in the corner of your room.
Surprise!
Just looking over going, "No, Dad, stay."
For context, everyone, we're taking a minor break while Rosanna tries to find a special guest for this week's podcast. We could come back with her dad. What's her dad called again?
Kev.
Probably Kev. Shout out to Kev. We love Kev. He's a lovely man. Or it could be Tyler, her brother. Rosanna, do we have a guess?
You can stand there.
Hi guys.
It's Tyler. Hello, Tyler.
Hello.
So, Tyler, we've got a very important question for you. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
Give us your most controversial Doctor Who opinion. What would rile up people on the internet?
Joe, are you stealing your content from Crispy Pro? Wait, is that the right guy? Is that the wrong guy?
I think you'll find the Controversial Opinions series has been a long-established Confused Adipose brand since 2020.
Sorry, I thought I know that now.
Evie on this podcast at one point.
Yeah, special guest.
But go on, Tyler, give us your rundown.
I'd say probably I don't know, it's not that controversial, but I think David Tennant's Regeneration was probably the best all time.
Fair.
Not controversial.
I don't really. I just agree with people really.
Right, who's your favourite companion?
I don't know. Probably Amy and Rory.
Ooh, that's controversial.
Don't tell Joe that. Yeah, I see a fellow man of taste, but Joe.
Right, who's your favourite Doctor? Matt Smith.
I'll say Matt Smith. Yeah.
What's
You don't like Peter Capaldi, do you?
No, I don't like Peter Capaldi.
See, there's a controversial opinion, and that is just wrong.
I'm leaving. I can't have this.
Or do I like Jodie? What's her name? Jodie Whittaker.
No, I don't. We actually watched her.
That's not
one good one, to be fair.
It was alright.
See, we'd never get these takes from the confused grandparents.
Right,
Which was the one good Jodie episode?
Kablam.
Fair.
Really?
Kablam was your favourite Jodie?
Favorite episode? Well, I don't really have one, to be honest.
Right, what's your favourite part? Like, what were you scared of as a kid?
As a cat.
Type thing. As a cat, yeah.
You were.
I was scared
Dogs.
Were you not scared of silence?
Silence.
You know the big Slender Man thingies.
Silence. What's that?
No.
There we go.
I'm brother for you guys.
Final question before you're not free. What would you say would make you watch Doctor Who again, or would you never watch?
I don't know. Probably I don't know.
These episodes are so good. I'm the actually are.
Who's the new Doctor?
Ncuti Gatwa from Sex Education.
Oh right. I don't know. Probably if they had Matt Smith in, to be honest, I'll probably watch it.
Fair. Well, thank you very much, Tyler. It was nice to see you again.
Put in the comments below what you lot were afraid of when you were a cat.
The one thing I want to say, just going back to the whale quickly.
Just the one.
What do you want me to know? Oh, you know what? I won't say anything. No, that's fine.
No, go on.
Speak your truth. The bit at the end where they leave
I think that was a bit too aggressive, Joe.
I think, you know what? I come on here and I just get slated. No, the bit where they are going into the filter bit at the end when Alice is leaving, and it says that there's 4 people on the filter, but there's only 3 of them there, which implies that the thing was on her back.
But then how can it have also been on Belinda's back? That's what I don't get.
There's multiple of them. There's loads of them.
There might be more than one.
Also, Captain's death. Oh, that hit.
I did love the way that was directed. You got the flashbacks of her as a kid.
Yeah, that was good.
That was good.
I liked the way it was directed, but I did people die when you're behind them. And yet, the doctor.
I was like,
if she was going to turn and face the doctor in that scene anyway, why would you have the doctor? No, but why would you have the doctor run in behind her, look her directly in the back as she slowly turns around and looks at him and then faints backwards? The doctor should have run in. It's a nitpick.
You don't. To be
it was
fair,
a great episode.
Because I did think that, but if you watch it, they make sure he's always behind. And when I first watched it, I thought, why did he stop? Because he did a very classic Who thing of he stops almost for the camera to go no and then run forward. But on rewatch, it's because he's making. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's because he's making sure he's not directly behind her. So they do actually map that out.
You see
Fair
her
enough.
run
It
into
was an
one
nitpick.
room and then him running the other room that she was just in, so it's a different.
Yeah.
Cutting it a bit close though.
Yeah, but he's a doctor.
Personally, I would have gone, you know what, thanks for your sacrifice. Really sad to lose you. You've been the greatest help of all of these people on this godforsaken planet.
And that's why
I'm
you're
No
not
need to run
doctor,
after you.
but-
Go have a moment. Remember your
I'd try.
childhood.
I would really try. I would, but
No, you wouldn't. You'd be
unfortunately-
like, bye, hun.
What's
Okay,
really
well,
funny
I
about that is
suppose.
exactly what the 13th Doctor does to that poor old bloke in The Timeless Children.
He does. Oh, thanks for your
Well, after
sacrifice.
my-
I'm off. See you in a bit.
Is it bad that I
does
don't
it.
remember?
He does it in Legend of the Sea Devils too, with that like 15th century pirate.
The
She's like,
13th Doctor would be great in this series. Like, Belinda would go, I really want to go home. I miss my family. And she'd go, well, I'm quite socially awkward, so I'm just going to tinker with the console and pretend I didn't hear your question.
well, what I like with this Doctor, you know how everyone says he's always more emotional? I liked when she was struggling to describe the entity to him, when Alice was struggling to describe the entity to him, he gives her a hug. He just goes and he gives her a hug, which is a small thing, but it's something a lot of other Doctors I don't think would have done. I can't imagine really like sort of Capaldi or Smith really. You know, there's a sort of, you know, they'd be like, I don't do that, you know.
I think it's what's really good about the 15th Doctor in this era as well. What, series 2? He feels so still the Doctor, but so unique. Like, no other Doctor would say babes, no other Doctor would hug them that quickly. Like, but he still commands the room. Do you know what? Like, while hugging them, he's still at the centre of it, and it's very good.
I think he's really shone in the past few episodes, particularly with the whole commanding the room stuff. But I would like to see, because I loved the bit when he was working out what the midnight thing was, and he was the one, and we knew, and he knew, and it was us and the Doctor together against the world. But then with like the entity's back, and then that was all sorted by the commander person. I would like to see some more Doctor working things out. I want to see his thought process. I don't want him to just go, oh, it's okay, we'll do this now. Like I want to see him prove why he is the Doctor, kind of in one of those episodes, with just like the working out of a solution thing. Because I agree with you very much. He's got that gravitas around him that I don't think he had in season 1.
Yeah, he
has got
good.
to the point. He's got to the point where, like, I wouldn't choose him as mine by any means. But
what a compliment!
Like, I don't quite understand how Jodie can be someone's favourite Doctor. Like, I get how you can enjoy her era, but I don't see. Well. No, but I don't understand how she can be a favourite Doctor. But if someone came up and said, you know what, I love Shooty, he's my fave, I'd be like, I
You're
get
like
it.
every annoying guy at Comic-Con that just has to for no reason. Jodie didn't do anything to you, and you're like, I don't get why any of you weirdos would like her.
No,
nobody asked. Nobody asked me.
There's some people that really like Jodie. I met a girl who had like a Phasmin top on in my Shanghai, and I was like,
I can see why, quite frankly, anybody has any Doctor. The only Doctor I can't understand why people would have
Colin
them as a
Baker.
favourite. No, John Hurt. He's just he's
Oh,
good.
yeah, that's a
but
bit-
it's
No,
like-
not the Doctor.
He's
he
not
is for like half an
No,
hour.
But that's what I mean. If you said John Hurt's your favourite Doctor, I'd just go like, "Come on, he's had like 3 minutes. Like, don't be silly." And
I
also,
kind of feel the same way. You've got to apply that same logic to The Fugitive, though, surely.
no, but this is what I was going to say. Also, Joe Martin manages to absolutely slay the house down, as the kids would say, in The Fugitive of the Dune, single-handedly.
I hated that, by the way.
Proper Doctor vibes. Whereas John Hurt, he's just like, you've got David Tennant and Matt Smith, and then John Hurt just sort of as a shadow in the back going, I'm the grumbly old one. That's all he does. It's like...
See, what did Jodie ever do to you? You know, Jodie's there to outshine Joe Martin as well, but you don't even think about her. It's not Joe Martin, is it? Is it Joe Martin?
It is your
Yes,
What's her name?
What are you talking about?
What's her name?
Oh,
Yeah.
die.
I'm lost. No.
No, but
Anyway.
I think the point is, I can see why any Doctor would be anyone's favourite. Even John Hurt, if you've got your Big Finish connections, I'll be like, okay, go on. Because I think there's never, maybe this is a controversial take, I'm interested on your guys' thoughts on this. I don't think there's ever been a bad casting for the Doctor.
Oh, Richard E. Grant in that little series.
That doesn't count because that's terrible.
Well,
No, I like.
But is he a bad casting? Because even Jodie's like, I don't rate Jodie's era, but she's not
Really?
bad casting.
You keep it to yourself.
She's not a bad casting.
No,
I mean, like
if
those
you watch
theatre clips that you love to bring up, Joe. She could have been an amazing Doctor. It was the era that suffered.
But also for me with Jodie is that like, she gives off very like BuzzFeed feminism.
I
No,
know.
I get what you mean. Yeah.
And like she's like, well, I don't.
What's BuzzFeed?
What?
Don't try and explain it. It'll take too long, but carry on.
So did you just say what's BuzzFeed?
He just said what's
Yeah.
BuzzFeed. But for me,
What?
the whole like, I don't know. I like. For me personally, when I watch a Matt Smith interview being like, I didn't really watch Doctor Who as a kid because it wasn't around, but I watched all the clips and I really respected all that. And then Jodie was very much like, oh, I was told not to watch the clips, which I just don't think.
I think it's different. I think I thought you were making a different point about the 13th Doctor's character than I thought you were making. I thought you were making a separate point. I got confused.
Oh, the quiz website.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's like a big media corporation.
I don't know, maybe she's just giving millennial, and I'm like,
it's very millennial vibes.
very millennial, like very
I think
like.
my
Like
thing was
one of those little YouTube 2014 black hats as part of her
Oh yeah, and
costume.
she
I
probably
think I
would have
wouldn't
had
be
like a
surprised.
little like geek
A
glasses.
moustache tattoo on her.
I think my thing was more just you know, like with like Kablam and stuff, where Jodie's like, well, you know, the system's not the problem after all. I'm sort of like,
We're not getting into this debate again. That is not. Everybody takes that so out of context. It
While
does
Joe
my
goes
head
on
in
this
every
rant,
time.
I'm going for a wee.
It's just when she says the system's not the problem, she's talking about the system of the computer, not the societal system. Like everyone takes it out of context
but
as if
that
she's
AI
going,
does-
capitalism's not the
yeah,
problem.
okay,
That's not
okay,
what
but
she's saying.
that AI does kill someone though, so the system is a bit of a problem because it still murders somebody.
You know what I love about Doctor Who? About like, the casting. I think Doctor Who should win an award for casting because every little small actor, especially from the 2000s, because obviously now they're big, it's like really fun to see them go, oh, they were in Doctor Who. Oh, they were in, you know.
The crossover, my favourite one to talk about is Waterloo Road, Rosanna. And
Yes!
the Venn diagram is a circle. It is the same people in Waterloo. Like pretty much every Doctor Who actor has been in Waterloo Road.
Well, it's like every BBC show, there's at least 3 Doctor Who alumni there.
It's Doctor Who, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, Waterloo Road, and then like something ITV.
And you've got like Life on Mars as well.
Yeah.
Which Life on Mars? No spoilers, but someone from Life on Mars is going to make a appearance. Not as their Life on Mars character, but you'll know what I'm talking about.
If you've just spoiled the Master coming back to Doctor Who, I'm
No. It's an actress from Life on Mars playing a character in the season finale.
a new
that's
character.
Is Keely Hawes in Doctor Who?
She's already in Doctor Who.
She?
She's in Time Heist.
Oh, I love that episode.
That doesn't count.
We're digging ourselves a hole here. Let's move out of leak territory.
We're digging ourselves into a well, if you will.
I think
That's good. I like that.
I think Belinda will have the same kind of fate as Martha, in the sense of like, well, she's literally just been shot. She's literally been traumatized, and then she's mentioning her family a lot. Hopefully, we get to see them, and then I think she's smart enough and old enough to be like, this, because also she doesn't really have a choice but to go with the Doctor.
It's just reminded me of the Vindicator thing at the start of the episode. Like it's ridiculous.
Go on.
Why did they get? The whole purpose is they're popping outside, they're planting a thing, they go to the next one, they plant another thing. Why didn't they just? First of all, why didn't they just arrive and put it outside? I don't need to see them having a panic at the start of the episode again, they could just be like, oh God, we really need to get home. Let's go on an adventure now. Like if we do the same thing every episode, it's going to get really tiring.
But
They
then
did not need to get changed to go and put the Vindicator outside. They could have just gone out. Oh, there we go. There's a Vindicator. But it just felt so much like,
Yeah,
oh
but
God,
they're doing the
how are
long
we
way
gonna have this
round.
episode in?
What's it? Belinda
having
goes.
fun with it.
She said no. Shooty says, "Oh, you're starting to enjoy this." Like
Yeah.
she wants the
Yeah.
fun.
I don't know. It's just me.
I think she's having fun as well, but now she's just been shot.
Mhm.
And I hope they don't do a Doctor Who like, oh, let's gloss over that, because that's like that close to the heart. Nah.
They kind of do with Ruby a little bit last year, don't they?
do.
Because she sort of
Yeah.
gets shot in, boom,
Well,
and she never really stops for a second to be like,
That
hang on a minute.
ties into your loop theory because literally episode 3 of last year, it's Belinda who shoots Ruby,
Yeah.
and then this year Belinda gets shot in a similar way.
Do you think the actress that shot Belinda is going to be the next companion?
You may be.
Genius.
It's a bit of a Commander Maxwell with the Colin Baker. Anyway, can I put out a little theory? Actually, I'll put a little.
You may.
I
Go
think
forth.
I'm putting this together. I saw a couple of people suggest it, but I'm putting it together in my head. I think that Mrs. Flood is manufacturing these adventures. I think that if you look at it, right, so you know when the TARDIS lands, there's like a perfect gap for where the TARDIS lands, and then also like obviously at the end of the episode, she's like, "Oh, are they carrying this?" And it's the Vindicator. She's like, "Oh, very good, jolly good, a working Vindicator." And then obviously like she knows in episode 2 that it's a show and it's a television character. And she's there, but she's there, but we don't see her. She's off screen. I reckon she's like almost like a stagehand, kind of putting the pieces into place for these adventures to happen. And like, I don't know, I think there's something to that. Maybe not. Maybe she's got nothing to do with it. But I think like
that would have made sense until this week. Because
see, I think it makes more sense now.
No. This is the first week where
Sorry, Joe, can you say that again, just slightly more patronising?
This is the first week where we've seen Mrs. Flood not be in control. She is on the back foot. She doesn't know what's going on, and she is actively inquiring, is he using the Vindicator? Is he doing that? Because it's not for show. She needs information.
Yeah,
Normally,
but she's also the general of that organization, which implies that like this whole excavation she could have put together.
No, but my point is, for someone that is always presented as completely like basically omnipotent, she knows everything at all times. She's looking down the barrel of the camera. This is the first week. She didn't look down the camera, and she is actively going, "Can I have your help? I'm trying to track the Doctor or whatever." Go on.
I think that there's some kind of time loop thing going on with her. We know that there's some sort of timey-wimey thing happening, particularly because of the robot revolution. We know that obviously they went back in time, blah, blah, blah. He got her details from somebody or other. I think that the Mrs. Flood we saw in The Well was an earlier version of Mrs. Flood who's working out the mystery, and then she becomes the neighbour, and then she knows everything, if that makes sense.
Could it be something like Mrs. Flood is, like, whoever she is, she's trying to get somewhere, and because the whole point in the Vindicators is that...
Down.
No, but like the whole point in the Vindicators is that they're like like an anchor line to getting to a destination. So if there was like a lost planet, or a planet important to the canon of Doctor Who that keeps going missing and no one really knows where it is within the universe,
occasionally blows up on occasion.
It's always in turmoil. Maybe she's from a planet like that, and maybe she's, I don't know, trying to use the Doctor's setting up of the Vindicators to get there.
Well, that's the other thing. What if she, because I was going back to the Robot Revolution quickly, my whole theory that she's setting it up, what if she was the one that caused the time fracture deliberately?
Well, yeah, my reading of what Artie said tying into that is something, and it's why, going back to the black and white Guardian theory, I think there is an opposing either Mrs. Flood or some other force that is pushing the Doctor and Belinda away from May 24th because they know that's when Mrs. Flood's evil plans happen. So Mrs. Flood is checking, are the Doctor and Belinda forcing their way back to May 24th with the Vindicator? Yes,
is
they
what she
are.
wants them to
Good.
do.
Yeah, she wants them to go to May 24th because that's when her plan happens. I think there's an opposing force that it could, if she's the Black Guardian, the White Guardian is pushing the TARDIS away from May 24th.
Could the Black Guardian be Conrad then? And then the White Guardian is Mrs. Flood?
I'll tell you who the White Guardian is. It's Cherry Sunday. Because why has Cherry Sunday, she's a literal sleeper agent in bed, why has Cherry Sunday at no point said to Carla or Ruby, you know when everyone started turning to dust, Mrs. Flood turned to me and went, my plans will bring down the gates of heaven.
Yeah, but let's be fair. As soon as anyone hits 75, everyone stops listening.
And also,
they could be saying wild stuff.
You know what I
reverse from being sad, I guess.
He wants a cup of tea.
Here's my theory.
The one who waits.
I think, because I seen Joe's thumbnail and I thought, oh my God, blood is Sky.
Well, yeah,
Oh
Ruby's the daughter of the trickster, and they're recycling
That's a
the
horrible.
Battle of Bannerman Road plotline into the finale. Instead of Bannerman Road, they're going to make Unit Tower the head of the trickster's operations. You've got the Black and White Guardian and the trickster
reality
Trinity.
war. For the reality war, they have that visual of, is it like Hackney or something? Where is it? The sign?
Yeah, the London Borough of Hackney.
Yeah, the London Borough of Hackney.
He's got you guys as well.
Oh, no, he's trapped us. The trickster's trapped us. I do, yeah. I mean,
lovely bit of acting there, Ferris. You should be in Doctor Who.
It's just like
one day.
Someone like speaking to a child, and the child is like wanting to play with you, and Farry's just going, oh yeah, you trapped me.
Yeah, I'll put that drawing on the fridge. It's a good drawing.
Puts it in the bin.
Dispossess that image.
I love that viewers can see you doing these little acting moments and then still seriously think online that Russell would actually put you in the show. I mean, it is ridiculous.
To be fair, I mean that woman from episode 2 is basically just me anyway.
Exactly. You're
I don't
already
need to be in it. They've
That
done it
was
already.
you. I'm not
The
being.
woman from the dead one.
Yeah. The
No.
woman in
Lux.
the wheelchair who's
The what?
like, leak.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant the dead wife.
I literally
No.
wanted that.
Yeah, that's right. I'm actually
Please.
dead one. That's
Why
what's
you picked that carriage though? It's like that's
no.
dead
I-
wife giving matches. Oh yeah, it really reminds me of Farry's.
I really love Lux, but I thought that scene went on for far too long. Like,
What the fans say.
yeah, they're like,
Yeah.
they're going to disappear.
It was just a metaphor for this podcast.
I think I do slightly prefer Lux overall to this one though.
Yeah.
I think my slight reason for the preference is it's just a more unique idea. It's something I don't think the show's done before. I haven't seen it before.
Rounding up our thoughts on The Well, can we all get a rating out of 10 before we finally discuss the podcast name? What are we going with? We'll start with Tharies. What are you rating
I'm
it
gonna
out of 10?
go solid 8 out of 10.
Fair. Rosanna?
9 out of 10.
Fair. Is that in comparison to what was the Elise metric from the other week?
It
All
was-
of Doctor Who or New Who? Or New Who?
I'm gonna say all of Doctor Who because I rate loads of episodes 10 out of 10 because of the way they make me feel, not because of the quality of that. I'm just like, if I get a reaction to it and like I'm crying or I feel something towards it, it's a 9 out of 10. Genuinely.
Fair. Elise?
I'm trying to remember what I rated Lux, because I think it would probably sit around the same point. As I said earlier, it's not as good as Lux, but I think I might have slightly preferred it personally. But I think in context of New Who, I'd give it a 9, and in context of all of Doctor Who, I'd give it an 8.5. So that's quite high for me. I'm normally a very critical.
What did your dad think?
Hasn't watched it yet.
He hasn't watched it. Oh,
Every
said
time
on
I
it.
exclaimed anything in the car, he went, "Don't tell me, don't tell me." So
My nan has watched it.
What did
We
your
need
nan
nan
watch
Tharies, your nan needs to be a special guest.
Yeah, I should get her in. She probably would as well. She said she came down for food the other day. She's like, "Do you see that deaf girl?" I was like, "Yeah." And my mum was like, "What? You watched it?" Because my mum's behind, and I keep telling her, you got to catch up. But my nan is currently beating my mum currently. So there you go.
Oh, your poor mum.
I know.
Right, Artie, rating out of 10.
8.
Is that on the whole?
Yeah. No, just the first half. What?
Oh,
What are you saying? Is that based on all of Doctor Who, or just the current stuff? So 2023.
Well, it's out of 10.
I'm aware of that. You fucking moron. That's what I know that.
Did you listen to what was just said?
and also,
No. 8.
There we go. To be fair, I just base it on vibes. I can't just base it.
After all these scores, I'm going to slightly drop it from my initial reaction and review because I need to somewhat play devil's advocate because everyone loves this episode so much. And
All right,
I think it's
Hang on,
really
what was yours in
good.
the initial reaction?
7.
My initial one is 8 or 7.5. And I'm going to give it a 7.5 or 7. That's where I sit because it is very good, but I think its Lux was much better in my opinion.
Say much, but I did prefer it.
Yeah,
I'm sorry you thought we're going to disappear.
Because I think the well is a bit tighter. I think the well's a bit tighter as a story overall.
Yeah, but I think Mr. Ringerding is just such... It felt so new and fresh. This felt like a really good episode of Doctor Who, but not necessarily too new.
Yeah, I agree.
Sometimes all I want is a really good episode of Doctor Who, Joe. That's what I've been asking for the past 7 years from Doctor Who. That's all I've wanted. So I'm quite happy that they've given us a really good episode of Doctor Who. Actually.
Speaking of really good episodes of Doctor Who, what are we thinking about the next time trailer next week? Are people excited or not?
I'm not really a Ruby Sunday fan.
No, I'm
so
not
I can take it or leave it.
Isn't the actor in what's it called, Little Mermaid?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Prince
I
Eric.
like him.
Yeah.
I think he's got a really nice voice. I think he's quite good looking.
Fair.
I think it should have been me personally.
We get it.
I don't think Millie Gibson's on your level, Tharies. I think.
No, you're right.
I don't know, Ruby. She's trying to be Rose, but she doesn't have that charisma that Billy had.
I don't think she's trying to be Rose.
I think.
What is she trying to be? That's a good question.
Yeah, because if she's not trying to be Rose, then get out of my way.
I think she's just. I think the issue with Ruby is that.
Have you ever just?
I think the issue with Ruby is that she's trying to be. I can't remember what I was going to say. No, I think the issue with Ruby is that she's not trying to be any particular character. She's just constantly trying to be likable. I think that was the issue with Series 1 as a whole. Like, Shooty and Ruby, they were just so nice. And that's like the worst thing you can say about an interesting person. Because, Joe, finish my point for me. You know what I'm saying.
Well, it's similar to the discussion we were having earlier about when a character has noticeable flaws, it makes them more realistic, and therefore you develop a stronger emotional bond. And I think Ruby started off quite well, and as much hate as we give Space Babies, I think her and Shooty in that episode are really, really strong together. Like, there's such a lovely friendship, but like Rosanna mentioned earlier, after she nearly dies in Boom, there's not a single point where she just goes, "Doctor, I've had enough. Doctor, I'm angry." Like, she's just chill. But this is why I am really excited for this week's episode, because the whole plot is Ruby struggling to adapt to life back on Earth. So I think we are going to get these struggles, we are going to get this stuff. From all the trailers and stuff, she talks about she talks about oh no, like, I've faced gods and my adrenaline's always at maximum now. I don't what do I do with my life? And I think
saw that. I saw that article where she was like, she has sort of PTSD from the adventure. So that's the way they take it. That could be quite interesting, for sure.
I've struggled with life. after the TARDIS.
I feel like
Other
you're
spin-offs are available.
I feel like you're Elizabeth Sladen's personal publicist. Like
I
you're like,
wish.
have you ever heard of Elizabeth Sladen, guys? Very
Elizabeth
obscure.
Dunn.
My thoughts on the Next Time trailer are as follows. See, I don't know what it is. I don't really have a justification apart from the fact maybe I'm not the biggest fan of Series 1, but I just didn't think I'm not that excited about next week. I think the Next Time trailer for Lux was so strong, and I do think that the Next Time trailer for The Well was like brilliant. It got me so hyped off the bat. It just set the tone so well, and the tone. I don't know. The tone of the episode hasn't been communicated to me. I don't know. I didn't pick up on it, so I don't really know what to look forward to. If anything, it felt a little bit Sarah Jane, in the suburbs, and you can see something through the bushes. I don't know. It just didn't excite me.
Oh, I can tell you something. I watched Boomtown yesterday, and I really enjoyed it because it's
What a segue.
Yeah, sorry. And I watched the Next Time trailer for the Dalek Big Brother episode, that one. And they reveal everything because back in the day they didn't really have leaks, so they didn't have U2 ruining everything.
They did.
So they
had Gallifrey Base.
Okay, that's not my point.
Kids.
But because of that, they kind of revealed more Next Time trailers that kind of spoiled it for me. Whereas nowadays everything's hush hush, secret. So I don't know. It's just something I've noticed.
The one slight concern I have about next week is that it's written by Pete McTeague, who wrote 2 episodes in the last year, and I wasn't hugely keen on. However, he has also written some good stuff for the collection box sets, and I think it's Tales of the TARDIS. He's done some of those as well, and they're quite good.
What did he write?
Kablam, wasn't it?
Kablam and Praxius.
Oh, I like
Rosanna's
Kablam.
happy.
And I will give him credit. I can't remember what it's called. Is it The Pact? I'm pretty sure he's the guy that wrote that really, really good BBC show about 4 old women that kill someone, and then they're all like, "We're not going to tell anyone that we killed them," or whatever it is. I'm pretty sure
The one with
wrote
Sacha
that.
Dhawan, is it?
He did write The Pact.
Yeah, that is really good. He knows
That's not
how
the one
to
with
write.
Sacha Dhawan in it, is it?
No.
He's like a murderer. That's a different thing, is it?
No. But I think he's a good writer, and also because
Series
he's
12.
Then what are you doing?
Carry on, Joe.
Well, I don't know what he's even saying.
He just went, Series 12.
No, because that's the one with Sacha Dhawan in it.
Yes, I know that, but he's also in a crime thing.
It's just a little joke. He's a murderer in Series 12.
The series 12.
Very good. Joe, carry on with what you're going to say.
You guys have got no whimsy.
I can't even remember. No, my point is, I think
He's
he's a good
in
writer. He has written the spin-off, The War Between the Land and the Sea, so I think it makes sense.
Or at least he's co-writing, isn't he?
He's writing the unit episode because he's going to be able to carry on all these character arcs and meld it all together nicely. He is very good at writing character, as seen in The Pact. So I'm hyped. I'm excited. And
I'll give him, all the benefit of the doubt and stuff. I just know that I haven't been particularly keen on either of his.
But I think Earth-based Doctor Who stories not always. They have a higher probability of slapping than just space stories.
I agree with you in general, but I don't know. Just the vibe of the trailer itself. I feel like so far we've had sort of 3 hard sci-fi, high concept, new ideas, and then I don't know. For me, it was just the shot in the trailer of the monster through the bushes. It just didn't get me excited. But I'm ready to enjoy it. I've not decided I hate it already. But I don't know. Something about this Next Time trailer, it's just not as exciting as the others.
I do find it really funny that Ruby's thing seems to be every episode 4. She witnesses another invasion of a weird old-timey village. Last year it was a village in Wales. This time she's fighting off an invasion of a village in England.
It's a time loop. It's a time loop.
Right. It is to wrap up this podcast in the smoothest way possible. This is not attempt 500 at doing this, but we're going to wrap it up. Don't worry. You're almost free, guys. What names? Let's read the viewers' comments. What names are we going to call?
I heard Who Asked. I genuinely think Who Asked is a great.
It is a good title. Can someone? Has anyone got access to YouTube? Can we check it? Because
yeah, I'll check it now.
I thought the Oodcast. This is
not bad.
Yeah,
I don't mind.
It's not great either.
The Clomcast.
It's got marketability because you can put an ood on the thumbnails each week, or like a clommy.
Linda.
I like Linda.
Linda. Is that already used? Searchability, because if you search up Doctor Who Linda, it will come up with Doctor Who Linda.
There is a Who Asked podcast, but I can see one episode and it has 56 views, and the title is Who Asked Episode 2.5 Italian Brain Rot. So I think we're safe.
No, I think there is a Doctor Who one.
I feel like there's got to be.
The podcast of
search
Discord.
Who Asked Doctor Who podcast.
That's rubbish.
What was Rosanna's?
Well, that's not mine, but the podcast of Discord.
That's not bad.
That's horrendous, Joseph.
Why?
Foodcast is much better. The podcast of Discord is ridiculous.
No, but it's the Pantheon of Discord. That's what the gods are.
Oh.
So you've got the play on Discord and Pantheon of Discord.
Oh, I didn't realise that was their full time.
It doesn't just mean the app.
I retract my statement.
The Impossible Podcast. I think that's already a thing.
No one can see this. Just.
So there is a Who Asked Doctor Who podcast, but there was one episode, and it was 10 months ago, and they've not posted any other videos, and it has 38 views.
We might be in for it. We'll put Who Asked into the. We'll give it a golden buzzer. It's going into the finals.
We might end up doing. It might be really bad for that podcast though. If we have the same name as them, it might be really damaging their views and everything. If we don't want to do that.
They should post more often.
That's shout out to the commenter last week who was commenting that. But
I want to say I have no bearing on any of this. I'm just here.
It's all Thary's fault. Blame Thary.
No, I have nothing.
Right, Rosanna, what other suggestions do we have? We've got Who Asked in the finals. What else?
God, they're all the ones I've suggested are from Ashbridge Industries. Thanks, hon.
Thank you, Ashbridge.
Wait, what was it?
Who Crew?
Who Crew?
No, that's what I call it.
It's already been taken because it's on, the
Doctor Who Unleashed.
Yeah, and it goes, I'm
Stefan Powell.
The Who. I'm going to ask the Who Crew.
The sets in this episode were amazing. Let's go and talk to the production designer to see how they get this magic done.
We'll give Who Crew just beneath the finalists. It might make it into the top 5.
I reckon. Now that's what I call a giggle.
That's not going anywhere.
I'm here for now. That's what I call a giggle. I like that.
Right. What else do we have, Rosanna?
Who knows? But not as in knows.
That's already one in it.
Oh, well.
To be fair, if you got rid of the K and made it Who Knows, it would be more themed to the channel.
Get it?
Oh.
Very
excellent.
Good.
Right, next.
Hooligans.
Wait, what was that one?
Hooligans.
That's already a series. It's not a podcast, but it's a Doctor Who fan series thing.
Oh, I think I've seen that.
Really,
maybe.
no, because my favourite Doctor Who podcast people are the what is it called? They're like Pond something. Come Along Pond. I like
Other
them.
podcasts are available.
Are available.
Come Along Pond. They're really good. Who La La. I like them.
Yeah, in fact, just stop watching this one. Go and watch Review of Death.
Go watch someone else. Really, yeah. The Review of Death are great.
I don't know.
Can we get them on?
But I all cater to like our favourite Doctor Who things and our favourite Doctor Who person, like because we each like a different part of Doctor Who. Why don't we just be like?
Oh, okay. That's what.
Already on Jules' channel, so why don't we just be like Adipose something?
No,
let's
separate ourselves from the brand.
To be fair, I do have a funny story about Review of Death though. When I went to uni, my lecturer was talking to me about, because obviously I make it quite apparent. It's, you know, that clip of Jenna Coleman where she's like, "You're a Doctor Who fan, aren't you?"
Yeah, I take it you're a Doctor Who fan.
Most people get that wrong.
Iconic.
Elisa's just flipped upside down.
No, I
But,
was just trying to
Upside
check the
down.
time because I was going to order a takeaway and I can't now because it's too late. So thanks, guys.
but at uni,
I'm defrosting a pie. So
What pie? What pie is it?
so while I
I
was
don't know.
at
It's a
uni,
surprise. I didn't realise. Rosanna asked
what do you
me.
mean
I
you
didn't.
didn't realise?
Well, she asked me a question. Why would you wait for her to finish her question
Too late
and
all
then
the
start?
pies. Too late all the pies.
Artie, I think you need to go and have some
Some what?
humble pie.
And Joseph Street, action.
So when I was at uni, once again, this is the fifth time trying to tell this story. When I was at uni, I was known as, like, my lecturer knew me as, "Oh, it's that Doctor Who guy." And he then started saying about, like, "Oh yeah, about, like, oh, it must have been 8-9 years ago. There was this other kid who was absolutely obsessed with Doctor Who, and he'd always ask me," because I think my lecturer, like, was the floor runner on Earth Shock or something, and he was like, he'd always ask me about my time on Doctor Who. And lo and behold, it was Billy Garrett John from the Review of Death. That is the story that's been trying to be told for 10 minutes. I hope it was all worth it.
I forgot we were talking about the Review of Death.
Anyway,
I like the idea that all, like, the Doctor Who YouTubers come from the same uni.
yeah.
Like, the idea that they're all, like, made in, like, some, you know, like how all the prime ministers go, like, into, like, they're just all
No,
like,
because Doctor Who fans, we accumulate. Like, Osh is literally like, no.
Accumulate.
We
I
like
was
all
born
come
in Cheshire,
together.
but I was made at uni. After all.
You'll come the same way because, like, Osh.
Well, let's not dox Chris Chibnall's son.
Sorry.
You can have a go.
No.
Well, it looks like we haven't found a name this week. And on that bombshell, everyone, thanks so much for watching. Now that's what I call a giggle. Goodbye.
We'll be figuring out the exact name next week, because
No, we won't.
we'll
We're going to
put-
do the exact same thing again.
what we'll do, we'll put a name each week into the semi-finals, and then we'll have a final. So this week's semi-final is, I've forgotten what it was. Who asked? We'll get it checked
It
with
feels
our
like
lawyers.
the snow plot line in season 1 where it's like, who cares, man? You know, just
Another great title.
Why don't we
There is-
do like Bad Wolf podcasts or something?
It's important because we think it's important. I think Julie
I
Gardner
think it's
might have
important
started a
because
company with Bad Wolf, actually.
Don't just do Bad Wolf.
you know what? I think that company's going places.
Bad Wolf
maybe.
we could do Bad Wolf podcast.
No, the Bad Wolf podcast. Who made
What
Doctor
about,
Who?
We
What
could do
about
the Impossible.
well?
Well,
I think it should be
that is good
or
for this
more-
week
or
and
like-
this week only.
or like Don't Blink the podcast. Something Doctor Who everyone kind of
How
knows.
do you do it? Just off the top.
I
Don't
know,
Blink
I'm
podcast.
so clever.
Joe, cut the feed.
I think we should be called the Sarah Jane podcast.
And on that bombshell, that's what
That's
I call.
what I call.
A giggle.
Giggle. Yay! That's the final one. And I'll see you later.
I missed your I'm beaming at you this week.
I'm beaming at you.
Beaming at you. Don't forget to click below and subscribe to the official Confused Adipose YouTube channel.
I will destroy you! She's not seen a single episode.
I've watched your episodes.
Keep these sonic screwdrivers.
What else am I saying about the film? Don't watch this one.